Tonight, the Prime Minister welcomes another Conservative Party floor crosser.
Thank you very much for coming and joining the team at a crucial time.
What it means in the House of Commons and what it might mean for Pierre Poilievre's leadership. Measles warning for Canadians heading south. Outbreaks are on the rise.
It's really important to make sure you're up to date on your MMR, make sure kids are, because it could spread everywhere.
Mitch Marner through to the net, scores!
And Canada's men's hockey team pulls off an overtime comeback.
It was so exciting. It was the best.
Buckle up, that was just the quarterfinals.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrienne Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Alberta MP Matt Jeneroux is being both lauded and torn down tonight after becoming the latest Conservative Party member to cross the floor. He is the third to join Mark Carney's Liberals in the last few months. Jeneroux previously said he was planning to leave politics altogether, but is now joining the Prime Minister's team instead, saying this is not the time to be sitting on the sidelines. So that sparked instant and stinging condemnation from some of his former colleagues, though there is some support in his own Edmonton riding. Ashley Burke takes us through Jeneroux's move, his explanation for it, and the reaction.
There he is.
Another Conservative MP abandoning his party to defect to a once political rival.
Thank you very much for coming and joining the team at a crucial time.
Edmonton's Matt Jeneroux switching sides, now becoming a Liberal MP and special advisor to the Prime Minister.
Quite honestly, it was the speech in Davos.
After a decade on the opposition's bench, rumors swirled about 3 months ago that Jeneroux was considering crossing the floor. Instead, he announced he was going to leave federal politics entirely. Now he says he's changed his mind.
For me, it felt disingenuous and quite simply wrong to be sitting on the sidelines anymore. So I reached out to the Prime Minister's office and will be joining his caucus, and I couldn't be more proud.
He's the third Conservative to join the Liberals since November. Chris d'Entremont, the first to jump ship, then Michael Ma. The Conservatives thought the bleeding had stopped. Now Pierre Poilievre says Jeneroux's betrayed voters and is accusing Carney of trying to seize a majority government that Canadians voted against in the last election through dirty backroom deals.
He just needs to be able to keep his own MPs in his own party. It's his own problem.
In Jeneroux's riding, voters are weighing in too.
I've worked for him the last 3 or 4 elections, and he was very much a Conservative. And yes, I'm very disappointed and I'm surprised.
I think it's a realistic thing to do. I mean, my sentiment has really turned from Conservative to Liberal recently because of the way Carney has performed.
Poilievre's office says Jeneroux sent an email notifying the leader about his decision about a minute before the Prime Minister publicly announced the news. The Liberals are now 3 seats shy of a majority government, and with 3 by-elections to be called, could have a chance to land one. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Let's bring in Chief Political Correspondent Rosemary Barton now. So, Rosie, what does this mean for the Conservatives and specifically Pierre Poilievre?
Adrienne, obviously, it's not a good day for him, particularly because Pierre Poilievre was just coming off this successful leadership review where he got over 87% support from party members. There was a real feeling from Conservatives. They had turned the page from the previous floor crossings. But now, a third MP in 3 months, that's unusual, and it will keep questions about his leadership alive. Certainly, this surprised a lot of Conservatives today who believed that although Jeneroux had sort of flirted with the idea of crossing the floor in the fall, that he was going to leave politics entirely. There is still speculation that there could be more MPs ready to jump ship, in part because of the reasons that Jeneroux cited, that this is a particularly challenging moment for the country. But it also happens, Adrienne, in the same week where Poilievre also had to distance himself from his MP, Jamil Jivani, who called the way Canadians are responding to U.S. threats from the president a, quote, hissy fit. So if Poilievre can't keep his caucus intact and on the same page, what does that say about his leadership abilities?
And what does it mean then for the MPs and the government they just joined?
let's be clear, most floor crossers lose in subsequent elections. So there's definitely a risk for all three here. They will be tested eventually and their constituents will have their say. But all of them say they believe Carney is making the right decisions at this moment. And some of those decisions are more center-right than his predecessor, investing in the military, promising further resource development. This will give the Liberals momentum. It may eventually give them a majority, but they risk becoming overly confident while they still have so much to deliver on.
All right, Rosemary Barton, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, to the Milano Cortina Winter Games now, where Canada's men's hockey team eked out a 4-3 quarterfinal win against Czechia. Briar Stewart shows us how the do-or-die game went into nail-biting overtime.
Mitch Marner through to the net, scores!
The moment a nation collectively exhaled and erupted in cheers. Mitch Marner's overtime goal sent Canada into the semifinals, shattering the dreams of Czechia fans. It was a quarterfinal with the intensity of a gold medal game.
My heart couldn't handle it.
Thought I was going to have a jammer.
What did you think of that game?
I think I lost 50 pounds in stress and cortisol running through my body. That was the most stressful, horrible game I've ever been to. But we came through and we won!
And here we go.
It was a nail-biter. After Canada's Macklin Celebrini scored less than 5 minutes into the first period, Czechia tied it up. And then after Canada took a penalty, pulled ahead.
Pasternak scores! Czechia the lead.
Canada tied it up in the second period, but not before a major blow. Captain Sidney Crosby took a hit, causing his right leg to bend awkwardly. He left the game and limped down the hallway.
That was a big thing in the locker room, after the second into the third was, we're not making this Sid's last game.
Cross and scores!
In the third period, Czechia made it 3-2, and Canadian fans anxiously watched as the clock wound down.
I am stressed, but the confidence of Canada, you can feel it in the building.
Team Canada headed to the semis.
And Canada went on to win 4-3 in overtime.
Obviously, there was always an underlying belief, but hard not to feel that tension in a quarterfinal at the Olympics.
Guys didn't quit. We stayed and trusted our systems and ourselves.
Outside, the celebrations began as the stress turned to pure joy.
It was so exciting. It was the best.
I've learned one Italian phrase, tutte bene, all good. And after that final goal, tutte bene. Thank God for that.
Now Team Canada is on to the semifinals and will play Finland on Friday. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Milan.
Canada's women were on the ice today, too, practicing ahead of tomorrow's gold medal match against rivals Team USA. A guaranteed medal, but will it be silver or gold? The game starts Thursday at 1:10 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it live, of course, on CBC Gem and see the latest highlights on the CBC News app. Well, another celebration for Team Canada today with a gold medal finish in speed skating.
Stephen Dubois will cross the line as Olympic champion. Dubois does it.
He certainly does. Stephen Dubois skating to win the men's 500-meter short track. He held the lead position the entire race. This gold adds to Dubois' 4 other career Olympic medals, and it's Canada's 4th gold at these games. William Jeneroux, the other Canadian in the final, was disqualified with a penalty.
Further, and it will be bronze for the Canadians.
And that is a bronze medal finish for Canada's women in the 3,000-meter speed skating relay. Danae Blais, Florence Brunel, Kim Boutin, and Courtney Sereau beat out the Netherlands for that 3rd spot on the podium. This is Sereau's 4th medal in 4 events at these games. And over on the slopes.
I'm proud of the way I prepared. I'm proud that I made it to a 4th Olympic final. Proud I made it back on the hill after what I went through this week, and I really appreciate all the support from Canada. And
good for him. That is Mark McMorris just moments after missing out on a medal in the snowboard slopestyle. He fell in the final run, putting him in 8th place. McMorris crashed during training just days before the games began, causing him to miss out on the big air event. So where are we? Well, here are the medal standings on day 12 of the games. Norway remains on top with the most overall. Canada moves into 10th place with 14 medals. Back here at home and changing the tone a bit, veterans are speaking out tonight, saying a budget bill may prevent them from getting money they deserve. This stems from apparent government errors which allegedly overcharged and undercompensated veterans for decades. We'll let Kate McKenna pick it up from there.
I'm sure I've never seen this before.
Lawyer and retired Colonel Michel Drapeau is urging the federal government to reverse course over a bill he says breaks Canada's promise to veterans.
I mean, if there's anything that is sacred, it's the obligation repeated government of all colours have made since the First World War, that our obligation of veterans to look after them.
The issue is buried in the Carney government's 600-page budget bill that Drapeau says could quash 3 ongoing lawsuits intended to reimburse veterans for federal mistakes. The bill would retroactively change the meaning of a law that lawyers allege led to veterans being significantly overcharged for long-term care and shortchanged on some other benefits.
I don't know if anybody, except maybe the odd Justice Canada lawyer, who would have had an understanding, a complete understanding of all the changes proposed in this legislation.
In December, Canada's Veterans Ombuds wrote to the minister, speaking out against the changes, saying using retroactive legislation to correct administrative errors is both inappropriate and unfair and denies justice to those who served our country. Veterans like Nova Scotian James Farah agree. He's a retired lieutenant colonel who served in Afghanistan.
The reality is, it's unfair, it's shameful. And why can't the minister come out and say it directly? This is what we're doing, this is why we have to do it. If Mr. Carney believes that this is something that is worthwhile to do, then he should come out and say it himself and say why he's done it.
Conservatives say they've got serious concerns about the bill.
You know, the government's made a mistake, and their way of trying to fix it is to retroactively change legislation to go back and essentially rob veterans. You know, I can't think of a more reprehensible thing to see.
A spokesperson for the Veterans Affairs Minister says this bill seeks to clarify the way benefits have always been paid and that the recent federal budget allocated more money for service delivery. The bill is still being debated in Parliament, but the deadline to submit amendments is Thursday. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
South of the border, U.S. House Democrats are now demanding the owner of the Ambassador Bridge, which connects Windsor, Ontario to Detroit, turn over recent correspondence he had with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. It is the next step in their investigation into Donald Trump's threats to delay the opening of the rival Gordie Howe International Bridge later this year. The New York Times has reported billionaire Matthew Maroon met with Lutnick just before Trump made his threat. We're learning more about one of the most tragic chapters in the violent story of accused drug lord Ryan Wedding, a brutal and deadly Toronto area home invasion. Thomas Daig has new details about an alleged murder-for-hire plot that targeted an innocent family by mistake.
For months, the late-night shooting in a Toronto suburb left police baffled. Now prosecutors are revealing more about the murder allegedly ordered by accused drug lord Ryan Wedding and his right-hand man Andrew Clark. The attack killed a couple from India in a case of mistaken identity.
I want to stress that the Sidhu family were completely innocent.
That night in 2023, a gunman burst into this rented home, leaving bullet holes everywhere. New case files obtained by CBC News say the intended target had previously been associated with the residence, but was no longer residing there. Recently arrested by the FBI, Wedding is said to have ordered the killing over a stolen cocaine shipment. According to U.S. prosecutors, Clark then hired a, quote, Canadian-based assassin crew who gunned down Jagtar and Harbhajan Sidhu and shot their daughter Jaspreet 13 times.
I heard my mother's last screams, and after that, it was complete silence.
What's more, a lawyer is accused of accessing Ontario police files and sharing them with the criminal ringleaders. Deepak Paradkar, seen here before his arrest, also faces extradition to the U.S. He denies wrongdoing.
This is not like the traditional cartel-based operations, like you are member of the cartel. No. This is basically his business.
As for Clark, he was arrested in Mexico and later turned FBI informant. He still faces murder charges, but
typically you would see a dramatically lower sentence
for someone who has cooperated with the government and helped prosecute more culpable individuals.
Wedding has pleaded not guilty to these murders and 2 others. The surviving members of the Sudhu family who were living here have since left Canada. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg faced a jury in a landmark lawsuit accusing social media platforms of deliberately addicting teens and kids.
Mr. Zuckerberg, did Meta purposely design the platform to harm children?
Lawyers for the plaintiff, known only by her initials, say app features hooked her by the age of 10 and harmed her mental health. Zuckerberg pushed back against claims his company's platforms were deliberately designed to be addictive. Google, which is also named in the suit, has also denied the allegations. At least 8 skiers have been killed in Northern California by the area's deadliest avalanche in decades. Caroline Bargut shows us what the skiing party was up against and how some managed to survive.
The bodies of 8 skiers buried in an avalanche have been found. A 9th person is still missing. The group was skiing on a mountain near Lake Tahoe in Northern California's backcountry on Tuesday. A massive blizzard, heavy snowfall, and the threat of further avalanches have hampered recovery efforts.
Extreme weather conditions, I would say, is an understatement. Lots of snow, gale force winds, making it impossible to see.
11 skiers and 4 guides were wrapping up a 3-day backcountry trip in the Sierra Nevada mountains when they were buried in an avalanche the size of a football field.
It was reported by the individuals that survived that they were attempting to go out as a group, that someone saw the avalanche, yelled avalanche, and then it overtook them rather quickly.
6 people survived and were rescued after several hours. 2 of them couldn't walk and were taken to hospital. Search crews had to park their snowcat 3 kilometers from the scene, then ski the rest of the way to try and prevent triggering another avalanche.
They were sheltered. They had some equipment with them trying to not only stay warm, but they had medical issues as well. They had themselves already started, looking for their teammates and their clients that were missing in the avalanche.
This avalanche instructor says many backcountry skiers carry beacons in case of an emergency.
One gets buried, you switch it to search. You can also pick up that signal and pinpoint the person.
The survivors located 3 dead members of their group, but their bodies have not yet been recovered because of snow conditions. The Nevada County Sheriff says investigators will now focus on the skiers' decision to proceed with the trip despite the weather forecast. The area received more than 1.5 meters of snow in the last 7 days. Several Tahoe ski resorts were closed or partially closed because of bad weather. Poor conditions and the risk of more avalanches continue to delay recovery efforts for dead and missing skiers. Caroline Bargut, CBC News, Vancouver.
Newfoundland is getting hammered by one of the worst storms it's seen in years.
The snowfall seemed to be a lot more significant.
I have a snowblower, but it's broken.
How residents are coping next. Plus, measles is exploding in some popular sun destinations.
Our vaccination rates are so low that this outbreak just continues to spread.
What you should know before planning your winter escape. And a different kind of target for this Olympic biathlete.
I'm gonna start the sweater at my pre-camp, my pre-Olympic camp, and then I want to finish it by the time the games are done.
The race to knit an Olympic-themed sweater before the closing ceremony. We're back in 2.
As long as it's not the polar vortex, I'd rather have this,
So it didn't get very cold today in the Toronto region, but freezing rain made it pretty rough to get around. A yellow warning was in effect and more than 80 collisions were reported.
We're on February break, so we're actually kind of enjoying it. We actually have nowhere to be.
And winter hit harder on the prairies with up to 40 centimeters of snow expected in some parts of Saskatchewan. Travel warnings are in effect, but the snowfall is forecast to subside overnight. It is a much different story in Newfoundland, where a punishing storm is expected to continue through the night. This has been an especially hard winter for the province. But as Peter Cowan shows us, people there have been through worse.
The storm is far from over, but people are trying to stay on top of the seemingly endless shoveling.
It feels like we've gotten a lot more snow. At least the dumps that we have gotten, the snowfall seemed to be a lot more significant.
Before this storm, St. John's had already seen almost 3 meters this winter. That's a lot, even in one of the snowiest cities in the country. And with forecasts warning of up to 80 centimeters more from this storm, there's a lot more shoveling for everyone.
I have a snowblower, but it's broken.
That's bad luck for Hugh Whitney and also for his neighbors.
It's sort of pitiful to be operating a snowblower and see a neighbor who has to shovel everything out. So end up helping out people as much as possible, but now with a broken snowblower, they're on their own.
The last big storm people here remember is Snowmageddon. In January 2020, it dropped 76 centimeters and shut down the city. This storm may leave more snow, but without the hurricane-force winds, it's a lot easier to deal with. Most of the city shut down, schools and most businesses closed. The fire department says most people are staying off the roads.
Fortunately, on days like this, we find that most people are staying home, that we recommend unless, travel is required. So motor vehicle accidents are few.
The people enjoying it the most? It has to be the kids who got the day off.
It's great.
But even adults try and look on the positive.
We live in this beautiful island, but unfortunately we have to deal with the white stuff. So just try to stay on top of it and try not to think about what's coming.
Unfortunately, what's coming is even more snow. This storm isn't expected to end until late Thursday, and then another smaller storm will bring more snow on the weekend. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Ukrainian athletes will participate in the Paralympic Games, but the country will officially boycott them. This is in protest of a decision allowing Russian and Belarusian athletes to compete under their country's national flags.
It was absolutely a wrong decision, morally and politically. I don't understand why sports community make a step back. Why? What for? What changes?
Russian and Belarusian individuals were allowed to compete in Milano Cortina as independent athletes, a partial ban placed in response to Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Now, their Paralympian compatriots can compete explicitly for their countries. Well, weeks after millions of Epstein files were released, many are asking, where are the consequences?
The reason we are here right now fighting for justice is because everyone wanted to look away.
But is what's in the files even enough for a criminal prosecution? And are you feeling anxious about Donald Trump's threats against Canada?
Canada lives because of the United States.
You are not alone.
My Canadian heart just got ripped apart.
What some Canadians fear, and we hear from those who sought refuge in this country. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. The call to prayer rings out from mosques around the globe as the holy month of Ramadan officially begins. For the world's roughly 2 billion Muslims, Ramadan is a period of worship, reflection, and charity. The Prime Minister reached out today saying he wishes everyone observing Ramadan a blessed and peaceful month. Well, for Canadians plotting a late winter escape, there is a hitch. Measles is exploding across some of the continent's most popular sun destinations, including both the U.S. and Mexico. Lauren Pelly looks at the risk and the steps some are taking to protect themselves.
If you're flying south this winter, watch out for an unwelcome traveler. Already in 2026, there are nearly 1,000 new cases of measles across the U.S., including hundreds of infections in South Carolina.
Our vaccination rates are so low that this outbreak just continues to spread and is the largest one in the U.S. currently.
This clinic is working to help contain the outbreak by getting more kids immunized with the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. But staff here say travel makes that tricky.
People are getting on planes or getting on cruise ships or doing things like it's really important to make sure you're up to date on your MMR, make sure your kids are, because it could spread everywhere.
Including other vacation hotspots for Canadians. There's a growing outbreak at a university campus in southwest Florida, and massive numbers of new infections in Mexico. The country has reported more than 2,700 cases since the start of the year.
It's affecting countries that you don't normally think of as being a risk for measles. And that's really important right now because people are thinking about going on holiday.
Canada's acting chief public health officer offered this advice to those heading abroad.
When you go to check your passport, check your vaccination status and check the status of everyone in the family who's going.
For some Canadians, that's already the plan.
I wouldn't travel with my child without vaccination.
We maintain all of our vaccinations, and for our daughter as well.
We're gonna be fine, and I hope a lot of people have like that conscious and they got the vaccines.
If you're not vaccinated against measles, the risks are real. It's one of the world's most contagious infections and can lead to serious complications or even death. Alongside a telltale rash, measles can cause pneumonia, blindness, severe ear infections, and brain swelling. Unvaccinated infants are among those most at risk, but you can request an early extra dose before the standard 12-month shot.
It's definitely worth the peace of mind of not having a baby who might be harmed by a serious infection like measles.
A dangerous disease that no one wants to bring home from a holiday. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Ottawa scraps a border crossing program that allowed Americans to access their remote communities through Canada.
We have a family of 10. There's almost somebody traveling every day.
What the security upgrade could mean for residents and tourism operators. But first,
this should be the moment where American culture says, how did we let this happen?
Millions of text and video files connected to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, released by the U.S. Justice Department, full of accusations and redactions. Eli Glasner breaks down what the Epstein files have revealed so far and what could happen next.
Billionaire Jeffrey Epstein arrested.
Jeffrey Epstein, the multimillionaire, pleading not guilty.
We have to fight like hell.
So here we are.
The bill is passed.
The Epstein files have just been released.
The Epstein files, all 3 million pages, are out in the world.
I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
And as details of the notorious sex criminal's lifestyle and famous friends are revealed, many are asking, where are the consequences?
The reason we are here right now fighting for justice is because everyone wanted to look away.
For years, what we knew about Jeffrey Epstein was shrouded by ongoing criminal investigations. But in 2019, after Epstein was found dead in his prison cell, the push for the files began. According to the Department of Justice, the files were pulled from numerous cases investigating Epstein, his death, the case against his butler, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who was sentenced to 20 years for helping Epstein. So, what's in it? Well, behind this very simple web page and search box are 180,000 images, 14 hours of video, and 3 million files. The CN Tower is 553 meters high. If you stacked 3 million pages, it would reach up to here. But in its letter to Congress, the DOJ says it's collected more than 6 million pages that could be potentially responsive. Add in the roughly 500,000 pages that were already released, and that means there's still 2.5 million files that haven't been disclosed. We're talking about a ton of material, with duplication and repetition, complete with everything from correspondence to Epstein and unverified allegations. And so that's why just merely being mentioned in the files is not a smoking gun. Search for Donald Trump and there are thousands of mentions. Everything from news articles to unverified and extremely disturbing allegations collected by the FBI. But some aspects of Jeffrey Epstein and the company he kept is beginning to come to light. Nima Rahmani is a former federal prosecutor.
We've learned that Jeffrey Epstein rubbed elbows with some of the most rich and powerful men in the world.
In the emails and text messages, Epstein talked politics with Trump advisor Steve Bannon. Elon Musk asked about the best time for the wildest party on the island. Virgin founder and billionaire Richard Branson jokes with Epstein about bringing his harem. Former Prince Andrew, also shown here, asks about a beautiful Russian. And then there's the redactions. Jess Michaels was a dancer in New York City who says she was raped by Jeffrey Epstein in 1991.
you said they've finally released. Well, they've finally released 50%. And the 50% that they did release, an inordinate redactions, like inordinate redactions. This is a victim statement. This victim statement was 7 pages long. 3 pages of it were completely blacked out like this. And in the victim statement, she says she feared for her life because of the abuse she was experiencing from wealthy and powerful men.
The redactions seem to be excessive. Under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the only information to be redacted is that which identifies victims of sex abuse or child pornography. Now, you have the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, the #2 at the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, saying that the Department of Justice is also redacting information pending ongoing investigations.
But Blanche, who once served as Trump's personal lawyer, has also said this.
In July, the Department of Justice said that we had reviewed the files, the quote Epstein files, and there was nothing in there that allowed us to prosecute anybody.
And yet listen to Vermont's Becca Balint, who as a member of Congress was able to read the unredacted files.
And honestly, it's just so depraved and it's sick and it's not a cabal. It's so much bigger than a cabal. It is a vast network of rich and powerful people believing they can do whatever they want.
This is what frustrates political analyst Molly Jong-Fast.
We should have hearings. We should have, the whole point of the House oversight is that we should have hearings. We should know who these men are, right? There's a client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Where's the client list? Why is the email about sex trafficking kid, why is the sender redacted?
Jong-Fast believes there's much more that could have been done.
I do think that if somebody looked at this information and wanted to find accountability and then was able to talk to these victims, you could make a case. But what's so incredibly infuriating about this whole story is clearly nobody ever wanted to make a case, right? Like they were like, Jeff's in jail, that's it.
Former prosecutor Ramani says the DOJ has yet to release critical information.
I'm looking at those FBI 402s, the interview memorandum, some of which all are completely blacked out. Again, it strikes me as potentially excessive. I would like to see what those documents contain. I would have also expected to see more video of Epstein Island, who was coming, who was leaving.
As to why there haven't been more charges, Ramani says moving forward with a criminal prosecution requires a vital element.
We need a victim who's willing and able to testify in court. Criminal cases and civil ones, they're based on witness testimony.
But Epstein survivors who say they've not been contacted by the Department of Justice.
Please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Are not backing down.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
We do anticipate more people being prosecuted, very much so.
And they're also thinking bigger.
I think each one of us is grappling with what justice looks like for us. And for me, it means how do we make sure something like this never happens again?
And that's part of the story of Epstein, the story of a man who left decades of trauma in his wake. Not a conspiracy, but perhaps something worse.
This should be the moment where American culture says, how did we let this happen? This was not a partisan failure. This was a political, and not even political, this was like a failure of Americans. Like this was a failure on all of our parts. And we need to look at the way we treat sex crimes, and we need to reassess the way we treat women.
Now, it's important to add, many of the men mentioned in the files say they cut off ties with Epstein and were not aware of any child abuse. Although at the same time, the files show Epstein maintained his network of powerful friends long after he finished his sentence in 2009, where as part of it, Adrian, he was registered as a sex offender.
So it can be a little hard to keep up. There's a lot going on with these files. What is the next step?
Well, all eyes are going to be on Congress next week, next Thursday and Friday. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary will be testifying as part of an ongoing congressional investigation into Epstein.
Okay, that will be watched. Eli Glashner, thank you.
My pleasure.
There's mounting evidence tonight that Donald Trump's ongoing threats of annexation and economic ruin are really wearing on Canadians. As Karen Pauls found out, a growing number are feeling fearful and pretty anxious.
Canada lives because of the United States.
Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump.
Why don't you just join our country, become the 51st state?
My Canadian heart just got ripped apart.
Lily Wexu is a French-Canadian originally from Montreal.
Step into the shadows and brave universal.
But now working and living in Los Angeles as a bilingual voice actress. She's feeling helpless and scared when she hears the Trump administration threatening annexation and economic ruin.
Any talk of assaulting my country in any way, whether it's economic or territorially, I mean, I could cry right now.
She's not the only one struggling. A recent poll shows 4 out of 5 Canadians are feeling more fear than hope about the Canada-US relationship in the year ahead. Canadians were asked if they feel Trump will pursue more military operations, like in Venezuela, or if they feel that was an isolated incident. 3/4 say they expect more to come.
We're in a world now where the superpowers are just trying to get more. We're just live in a world where I think none of us are going to be safe.
People in the north have been watching the U.S. target Greenland. Some, like Titus Alulu, say they're worried about northern sovereignty. Inuit in Canada would be impacted, he says. If you look at Alaska, it's an American state. And if Greenland were to become an American state, Canada is right in the middle. Then there are newcomers who know what happens when threats become reality.
You have to move somewhere else to stay safe.
Yaroslav Zhovner, his wife and 3 children moved from Ukraine to Winnipeg in 2022. They chose Canada because it was safe. But now, he says, he's hearing similarities between threats from the Trump administration and what Russian President Vladimir Putin was saying ahead of the invasion and annexation of the Crimean Peninsula in 2014 and the invasion of Ukraine in 2022.
Now we can see what's happened.
Zhovner says his wife feels a lot of anxiety and his children have questions. All he can do is tell them they're safe.
We try to do as best as we can and keep working, keep living.
It feels really vulnerable.
Carolyn Clausen says those are valid feelings that can feel even worse if someone has already experienced violation, disrespect, and lack of consent.
There's always something to be fearful about in our families and in our neighborhoods. But nowadays there's this extra layer of global threat that is new to many of us. So for people who have experienced global conflict in their neighborhood and then came here for safety, this can be a very difficult time.
While it's important to stay informed and understand how the threats and insecurity impacts people, Clausen also recommends managing news and social media consumption, finding people or a community for support.
We are wired for connection and we need each other like we need food, water, and oxygen. And when we share our distress, we are able to manage it better.
Lily Wexu says she's practicing self-care, eating well, doing yoga, and limiting her screen time. Still, she worries for loved ones in Canada and fears the potential of referendums on sovereignty in Alberta and Quebec could only make things worse.
I'm definitely concerned with people who want to separate from that right now because we need to come together as Canadians. A lot of bad things can happen when a population is divided, so this is not the time to be divided.
That poll Karen referenced paints a picture of how Canadians feel about our southern neighbors. Americans, too, have voiced significant dissatisfaction with Trump, but they are twice as likely to be hopeful about the upcoming year than Canadians. Coming up, a new plan by Ottawa to use landline telephones to report border crossings is drawing the ire of some residents of remote communities.
We all have smartphones. They're super easy, so I think an app system is where we need to go.
Why crossing the border is soon going old school. Next. Residents of a remote Minnesota community forced to cross through Canada to live their daily lives.
Go to school, grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, go see your accountant.
Concerns a new telephone-based border crossing plan will leave them hanging.
If you were in an emergency, you'd be getting a little antsy on it.
Karen Pauls breaks down Ottawa's new remote border crossing plan and why both residents and tourism operators think it's out of touch.
It's 8 a.m. and Jason Goulet is taking clients ice fishing. Goulet is not happy Ottawa is scrapping a border entry program that made it easy for people like him to travel into and through Canada.
Go to school, grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, go see your accountant. We have a family of 10. There's almost somebody traveling every day.
Northwest Angle is the only part of the U.S. outside of Alaska north of the 49th parallel. 3 sides surrounded by Canada with no road connecting it to the rest of Minnesota. So if you want to drive here, the only way is through Manitoba. Right now, Goulet and about 100 or so year-round residents are part of Canada's Remote Area Border Crossing Program. It pre-clears them to freely cross the border in 5 remote areas. There are about 11,000 permits issued each year, 90% of them to Americans. But in September, that ends.
People will have to stop at the nearest Canadian border station or use a telephone reporting site like this one.
If I catch 4 or 5 of these today,
some tourists get pre-cleared, but others have to wait in line to use designated phones to call Canada Customs.
we were there for over 2 hours that time. So luckily we didn't have to get anywhere quick to get home. But if you were in an emergency, you'd be getting a little antsy on it.
Indigenous communities are also concerned. Under the Jay Treaty of 1794, First Nations people are guaranteed the right to cross the Canada-U.S. border freely. But that's also complicated these days.
I've heard people with status cards kind of having a lengthier time to cross. So I think that's why, for me, it's been a little bit easier to cross, just because I do have the Nexus card and I do rely on the RABC too.
This restaurateur says there's an easy solution. Do what the Americans do.
It's 2026, right? We've been working with apps. We all have smartphones. They're super easy. So I think an app system is where we need to go.
Ottawa says this is all part of a $1.3 billion security upgrade, in part because of pressure from U.S. President Donald Trump. But folks here don't think swapping pre-clearance for a phone call will bolster the border.
The Canadian government says it is consulting with Indigenous communities, local businesses, and law enforcement partners to determine the locations of the new telephone reporting sites. Well, coming up, a Canadian Olympic athlete becomes an internet knitting sensation.
This is my application to be a knitfluencer.
His quest to finish a sweater before the Olympic Games end, next in our moment. You're looking at a pretty popular guy. Adam Ronell's a Canadian Olympic biathlete. He has garnered a lot of attention online, not just because of his sport, but for his hobby at the Games, knitting. So when he's not racing, he's been working on a sweater, and he's documented his knitting journey online. His Olympic pastime makes our moment.
This is my application to be a knitfluencer. Our coach bought us a bunch of knitting supplies in early December. She called it like knitting club, and I kind of got addicted to it. I wanted to knit a sweater. I started pre-Olympic camp, and then I want to finish it by the time the games are done. That's like the body. And then I finished this sleeve. Now I'm working on this sleeve, and then do the Olympic rings in this big gray space. That's the plan. I've been basically trying to get that done as fast as I can, and it was going quite well pre-games. Now that we're in the Olympic Village, I'm a little bit busier. I've been slipping a little bit, but racing is over now for me, so I can get back on the heavy knitting grind. People seem to like the knitting. I probably don't have to buy any yarn ever again either. I'm getting like bombarded with yarn. I've made a few biathlon fans, so that's been nice too. Everything I do for fun is active. It's nice to have something that I enjoy and is like fun to do, and I get to create something where I can also just sit on the couch.
Okay, let me nerd out here for a moment, because Olympians are notorious knitters. The great Kaya Tursky, the Canadian fantastic knitter, the British diver Thomas Daly, great knitter. In fact, he's the one who knit the gloves and the scarves for the British athletes at Milano Cortina. From all of us at The National, thanks for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.